Nisha360, and this live stream is probably not going to be any good, but I did it because I'm just so angry right now that I wanted to get it off my chest so I can enjoy the rest of what should be a good day. So I did the thing that you shouldn't do at raggedy o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and immediately went to Twitter. Why? Because today is SHINee's anniversary in Korea. It's their lead up to their birthday. So I was waiting for the tweets to come through. I'm very excited. As you guys know, I am a Shawwal. I am wearing as my night shirt my shirt that I wore to the SHINee fan meet in 2016. And I'm looking at the tweets. Everything's going good. We're all happy. Wonderful days. Yesterday was May's birthday. It was also Vic's anniversary. So lots of messages still trickling in from there. I'm a very happy girl. I get down the thread, and all of a sudden I see where someone is completely upset because they were told, hey, SHINee's doing a V Live. Please don't ask about Jongin during the V Live. It'll ruin the mood. And they're like, ruin the mood? And I guess the person didn't list Jongin by name. Hey Esther, they listed him as the deceased. And they were like, oh man, you won't even say his name. And he's a member of SHINee, so why can't we ask about him during the SHINee Live? And it's been on my heart for a while to say this to you because I feel like nobody wants to speak common sense, but I'm just going to put it out there. Grow some humanity. Grow some humanity. I'm really sick and tired of people acting like Jongin wasn't a human being. He absolutely was. He wasn't the property of SHINee World. He wasn't the property of SM. He wasn't the property of the group SHINee. He was an actual living human being. He had a mother, he had a sister, he had a father, he had friends, he had people who grew up with him, he had confidants, he had girlfriends, he had this life. And the people that he left behind in this life are devastated by his loss because they lost him in a way that's so hard to understand. He decided to take himself out of this world. It'd be one thing if he had been sick and maybe people had time to prepare for this. Or if he had been old and it was expected that you are a certain age, your time on earth is limited. He took his life in his own hands. He made a decision that no one else had any other input in, and he turned the tide for everyone else, and they're all having to deal with the repercussions. And they're doing the best they can. Please stop criticizing these people for doing the best they can to keep going after having such a loss. But more importantly than that, have some humanity and understand how tacky it is to ask someone over and over again about someone who they loved dying. Could you imagine if one of your friends died from suicide, and every time people run into you, they ask you about your dead friend? So, Cynthia, you're looking well today. Can we just talk about your friend Deborah? It's so sad that she died. And she was so wonderful, and she did so many things, and she was so beautiful, and we loved her so much. And can we just talk about the fact that things just are never going to be the same without Deborah? Now imagine that times 100,000 over and over and over again. I mean, it is the most disrespectful, arrogant, selfish, self-centered thing I can imagine. And I know there's been this campaign of people thinking that SM isn't respecting Jongin because his name is not plastered on everything, because they don't talk about him in every single press release. And at this point, why don't you guys just be honest and say what's really on your heart? You don't want SHINee to exist anymore. All these people talking about it's OT5 or nothing, and you're being disrespectful to Jongin, and he's a part of SHINee, so he needs to always be a part of the conversation. It's not about SHINee for you. It's about Jongin. And with it being about Jongin, just say it. Just say, I don't want SHINee to exist because he doesn't exist. And if that's the case, put it out there. Be bold. You're going to be bold enough to tell these people all the wrong they're doing to a man's memory, a man that was not even your close friend, but that they knew on an intimate level. You want to bring him up in every conversation. You want to constantly hammer these people's spirits with what was probably one of the worst moments of their life over and over and over again. Just say it. You don't want SHINee to exist. Instead of couching it behind, oh, you're being mad disrespectful. Oh, you're not doing the things you're supposed to do. Oh, you're not honoring his memory. What would be enough for you? Honestly, what would be enough for you? I agree. I think that SM should have a plaque of some sort for Jeongin at their coex. I think they should, because he's an important member of the SM legacy, not just SHINee, but SM as his company. I think that should be there. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know if it's because they're in negotiations with his family on what to do, because his family is very religious, so there might be some issues there. I have no idea. But to constantly berate the members, to constantly berate their team for not doing enough, what more do you want? The holographic cellophane sheets that are in their teaser, those are the same concept art from Poet Artist. If you look at the Story of Light, the way the graphic is written, the word story says story op. What more do you want? They've got the little symbol with the 5 stars in the corner. Like, there's all of these small symbolic nods to Jeongin. Not only that, but again, when you act like this, when you act like they're not doing enough for him, it's like you forget these other 4 members have been here the entire time. It wasn't just Jeongin and 4 backup singers. It was the team. It was SHINee. And you're so focused on this terrible thing that happened that still is incomprehensible, that I still don't understand, that still gives me nightmares sometimes to think that somebody so young and so beautiful and who has so much going for them would say that it's not enough. But you keep on concentrating on that, and you forget that these other 4 people have given everything to be a part of this group. They've sacrificed their teen years, their young adulthood. They're constantly being examined by the paparazzi. Everything about their life has been sacrificed to be this for you. And they're trying to give you what you want. They're trying to give you entertainment. They're trying to give you the thing that you came here for. And it's never enough for you. That's not enough. It has to be about Jeongin all the time. If it's about Jeongin, then just say you don't want SHINee. Just say it. Just say it. Grow some balls and say it. What do you want from them? My God, could you imagine? Could you imagine if your best friend died and everything about your life, people wanted to be put in the framework of their death? You know, you act like Taemin didn't grow by leaps and bounds over the last 10 years. You act like Key hasn't always been a distinctive voice. You act like Onew hasn't been a major vocal. You act like the other 4 don't matter. And it's just a shitty thing to do. And it hurts my feelings because I've been holding it in for a while. I really, really have. But I've had to block people. I've had to mute people. I've had to really go inside myself. People that I really like. And I've had to mute them because the shit they say is so infuriating. And I don't know if it's because these people have never dealt with loss before. They've never had someone close to them die. But when you've had someone close to you die, and you're already trying to, within yourself, figure out how you can live your life without them. And you're just an ordinary citizen. You have work, you have school, you have family, whatever else. And you're just trying to get through your own grief bubble. I cannot imagine trying to get through your own grief bubble on an international stage, and every time you turn around, it's always about, hey, you don't talk enough about your dead friend. You don't highlight his achievements enough. Fuck what you've achieved. Fuck the things that you've done to contribute to this legacy. Let's talk more about how awesome and great your dead friend was and how nothing will ever be good again because they're gone. My God, I'm sorry. I'm so hurt about it. I'm so hurt about it. And I know it seems silly because I'm a grown-ass woman and I shouldn't be hurt about it, but I'm so hurt about it. I'm so hurt about it because I'm still not over it. I'm still not over Jeongin dying. I'm still not. And I swear every time his name gets brought up, it's always behind some bullshit. And I'm just so tired of it, man. I'm so sick of it. And it's like now I dread hearing his name. And I'm not even in SHINee and I dread hearing his name. Because it seems like it's a dice throw of whether it's going to be behind some bullshit or it's going to be something beautiful, and I never know. And it's always like we can't even just think about the nice things. We always have to be reminded of the terribleness. And I just want to move on, and I don't want to move on like forgetting. I just want it to not hurt anymore. I want it to not hurt anymore, and you guys won't let that happen. And if it's like that for me, I can't even begin to think what it's like for them. I can't even imagine. It's heartbreaking. And you just be human about this. Just be human about this. And I know that a lot of people aren't going to know how to be human about this because they weren't like it when they were alive. Every time Key would have a Facebook Live or Jonghyun would have his lives, everybody would always ask, hey, where are the other members? What are the other members doing? What do you think of the other members? And they're like, we're grown men. We live our own lives. We live away from each other. And it was constantly, you know, people having to be reminded, please don't ask about the other members during the live. But now we're lucky enough, we're going to get a live from these four after so long not having released any material, you know, being brave enough to face us again in light of everything that's happened. And they're being ambushed with this. You know, it is just, I can't. I've gotten this off my chest. And so I'm going to go out the rest of my day and I'm going to try to forget about this morning and all the bullshit that I'm probably going to hear for the next several days. But I just wanted to put this out there because I don't think they understand how hurtful what they're doing is. I don't think that they understand the guilt that you live with when somebody you love dies. The survivor's guilt that you have, the regrets that you have, how you wish you had done things differently, said things differently, had loved them better, had tried harder, and there's nothing you can do to fix that because those chances are gone. And all you can do is just try and be there for the rest of the loved ones in your life and try to be a better person. And every time you turn around, people want to remind you of what you've lost, where you've made mistakes, places that you can't go back to and you can't change. And it just is so... If I hadn't had those experiences myself, I don't think I would be as affected. And that's why I say maybe these people have never lost anybody, but I have. It just makes me sick that you guys won't even try to be understanding. Just try. And if you're not going to be understanding, be bold about your lack of understanding. Just tell the truth. Just tell people, I don't want SHINee to exist because SHINee's only shining with Jonghyun. Just say it. Just say it. Don't hide behind this, oh, his memory's being disrespected. Oh, you're not doing enough to honor him. You're trying to erase him. It's not about erasure. It's about healing. It honestly and truly is about healing. It's about trying to find a path forward, trying to create a future, because what's happened can never be reversed. We can never bring him back. That's what it's about. And you don't see it because you're on such a one-track path. Your logic is so circular. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please, please just think a little bit more outside of yourself. Or at the very least, think of Jonghyun as Kim Jong-un, the human being, the citizen of South Korea. And think about, would you make these same demands of the family of someone you knew? Would you make these same demands from your best friend and her family? Would you make these same demands from your own family? Would you make these same demands from the people you work with, that they constantly have to be reminded of the thing they lost all the time? Never forget. You know, I read a newspaper article the other day about how Courtney Love and Frances Bean Cobain won a court case to prevent the release of the crime scene photos of Kurt Cobain's death. And the judge ruled that the reason why they were ruling in favor of Courtney Love and Frances Bean is because they felt like there was nothing about these photos that the public needed to see. There was no open case. There was just nothing about this that needed to be released. But these women had to go to court to protect their privacy, to protect the most vulnerable part of their life. Frances Bean Cobain was a toddler when her dad died. He killed himself. And Nirvana ceased to exist after his death. Instead, the drummer created a whole new group, the Foo Fighters. And people have constantly looked at Kurt Cobain as this kind of messianic figure. And he has become the focus of everything that was Nirvana, even though Dave Grohl, the drummer, has proven to be an amazing singer, writer, artist. Like he really is a legend all on his own. But I think early on they realized we can't do this without him because he was a singular voice. So they decided to make another group. And if that's what you want Shiny to do, then just say it. Sometimes it's easier that way to just, leave that to be its own encapsulated piece of time and become something different. But like I said, on the flip side of that, Frances Bean, a toddler, loses her dad to an irreversible act. Maybe a decision that he made that could have been made differently. He might have been influenced by outside forces, temporary depression, whatever else, but he could never be a father for her in the way that she needed a father because he wasn't on this earth. She has to go to court to protect her privacy, to not have it be on social media and the internet, her father lying in a pool of his own blood. She has to go to court because people are so fucking insensitive and so convinced that they own this man's legacy, even though he has a real and legit family, DNA out there that want to protect his image. But people feel like, no, we have a right to have this. Why? Because we want it. Not because of any real reason, just because we want it, so we should have it. I feel like that's what's happening here. It's like you've taken Jonghyun away from the people who really should have ownership of him. And instead, you're making it about you. And if having Shiny be Shiny is just too much, and you're never going to be able to accept it as anything that isn't Jonghyun plastered all over it, then let's just ask them to pull the Foo Fighters. Let's just say that. That I could even respect because I'd get it. I would get it. But to continue to just shit on their efforts, to continue to talk about how horrible everything is, to continue to lambast SM, not even considering, the fact that SM is trying to do everything they can to be respectful with his mother as well. You don't care about Jonghyun. You don't care about him. You care about your ownership of him. You care about the way you feel that he should be treated. You feel the way his memory should be acknowledged, the way you feel that things should be done in regards to him. You don't care about the other 4 men that stood by his side for the last decade, longer than a decade. You don't care about them. You don't really care about Shiny. You just care about Jonghyun. And if that's the case, just say it. Don't hide behind you're being disrespectful and all this stuff. Just say it. Just say it. Just say it. I'm sorry, guys. I know 20 minutes of me yelling and crying is not cool, and I'm sure I'm going to lose subscribers and everything else, even though subscriber counts is not really something I pay much attention to because my channel is not that kind of a channel, but I know there's some of you that won't be able to get past this conversation and enjoy future conversations with me. And I do have future conversations planned. I was going to do a favorites video where I was going to show you guys my favorite Shiny items in my collection. I also was going to do a bias tag that was tagged to me by Disney Bar. But I was just so shaken up about the stuff I was seeing on Twitter. Like it really hurt my spirit. It really hurt my spirit. And so I just had to talk about it. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm sorry to come at y'all this early in the morning crying and everything else, but it's just, I love SHINee so much. And I can't even actually explain why I love them. It's actually really weird that I have all these feelings for them, and I've only ever seen them twice. I've never shook their hand. They've never been in my home, but I love them. And I think it's just because their music is something very special for me. Their personalities are something I'm attracted to. They give me comfort when I'm in a low place. And knowing how much they've done to brighten things up for me, to know how much they carried me through some really tough times in my personal life just by being in existence, and to see how mistreated they are, it's just really hard for me. It's just really, really hard for me. So, yeah. So there's that. But let us focus again on what today is. And today is the start of an anniversary for a group that has achieved so much, and not just awards and record sales, but they've achieved a following because of who they are, because of their personalities, because of their melody, because of their talents, because of their souls, and how much of their souls they've turned over to us for so long. And I'm so appreciative of the other four members for going on, because they didn't have to. They didn't have to. They all have avenues they could explore outside of this. But they went on, and they're giving us some of their best work. I've heard the teasers for Jumper and Underground and All Day, All Night. The teasers make me feel like they didn't just put together something in order to have something to celebrate for 10 years. They really gave us thought and consideration in giving us something wholly unique for them. And then the fact that they're going to have to go on music shows, on Variety, all of these different things where they're going to have to interact with the public in a way that they haven't since Jongin passed. Yes, they did the Dome concert, but they were at least on a stage. They weren't amongst the people. They're going to have to go back amongst the people. And it's a form of bravery I don't think I have. I I don't think I could do it, but they're going to do it. And I just hope that we'll all stand by their side, and we'll all cheer them on, and we'll be that fifth member for them, because they deserve it. They deserve our support. And if you can't support them, please kindly shut the hell up. That would be great. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to go from there. You know, Keys talked about how he's had problems with depression. He's talked about how he used to be a cutter. And I swear on all I love, if you guys drag him back down to that dark place, we'll have to have a fist fight. I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let you do it. So, talk to you guys later. Bye.